Hello everybody, welcome back to DD62, which is gonna be pretty easy. It's a little bit long, it's intermediate, but I think you will be okay. It is about fat, I should say obese Americans. Not very good. But first, we need to go back to DD61, which was about the Beatles. Let's listen again.
February 9th, 1964. Beatlemania hits primetime in the United States.
You guys did a great job with the dictation. The answers: February 9th, 1964. Beatlemania hits primetime in the United States. Jen, that's it. Too short. Great job. Let's talk about this. February 9th, 1964. You don't need a period, but I put a period. Now, when we say the date, month, date, year, when you read it, you must include a TH. When you write it, you don't have to put the TH, but when you read it, you must say TH. So February 29th, February 9th, February 15th, February 2nd, February 3rd. Okay, so remember that. If you have the month and the date, include the first, second, third, fourth, the TH, the cardinal numbers are what we call them. Include this TH, include that extra sound, okay? And there was a question. February. What is the proper pronunciation? Great question. Perfectly, February. 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 However, many Americans, especially American children, have a difficult time pronouncing this word. So what happens is a lot of Americans simply say February. February. They just get rid of the R. February. 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 If you say it like that, everybody will understand. February. Don't say it slow, that's wrong. Slowly, February. But when you say it fast, February. February. I like February. February is cold in America. February includes Valentine's Day. February. 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 It's much easier to say like that. Don't you agree? February. So, February 9th, 1964. Beatlemania. Beatlemania. Now, the band's name is The Beatles. So, why Beatlemania? Why not Beatlesmania? Some people do say Beatlesmania, but most people say Beatlemania. Beatlemania. Okay? And the reason is, when we make a compound word, we have two nouns, and we put the words together, usually we don't change the spelling. But if this word is plural, many times we take off the S. So we don't say Beatlesmania. You can. Usually we say Beatlemania. There are exceptions. Some people like the game checkers. This is the game checkers. Checkers has an S. So if you really like the game checkers, you have Checkermania? No, Checkersmania. Checkersmania. So it's really going to depend on the situation. I'm sorry, there's no general rule. Basically, if it's plural, you take off the S and add mania, but not always. I'm sorry, there's no easy rule. However, it's not that common. Something something mania is a good expression. Exercise mania. Investment mania. News mania. News, we need the S in this situation. So a mania is actually a psychological problem. It means you're obsessed. You really love something. But we use it for fun. Beatlemania. Beatlesmania? Okay. Beatlemania. Beatlemania hits. Hits. It comes to. So hits in this case means comes to. Arrives at. Arrives at is also possible. Arrives. Now where does it come to? Where does it arrive? Prime time. Prime time in the United States. Prime time in the United States. What is prime time? Prime time refers to the television time, the television viewing time where most Americans watch TV. So America is a big country. There are 4 different time zones in the major 48 states, not Alaska, not Hawaii, but we have the Eastern time zone, the Central time zone, the Mountain time zone, and the Pacific time zone. So the Eastern would be New York, Central would be Chicago, Mountain would be Denver, and Los Angeles would be Pacific. I grew up in Wisconsin, which is in the Central time zone. And for the Central time zone, prime time was between basically 7 and 10 p.m. Some people will say 6 and 9. Some people will say 5 and 8. It's going to vary a little bit. But basically, 7 to 10 p.m. So, on television, between 7 and 10 p.m. in the Central time zone, all the most popular shows are on TV. Because most Americans are at home watching TV. That's prime time. So if you are on TV during prime time, that's really good. That means you are pretty successful. So the Beatles hit, the Beatlemania hits prime time in the United States. There's an old show in America called The Ed Sullivan Show, and that's where the Beatles debuted on American TV on February 9th, 1964. My mom watched them, as did most every other American. So, that's the story. Let's listen 2 more times, then I'm going to introduce your Beatles songs, okay?
February 9th, 1964. Beatlemania hits prime time in the United States. February 9th, 1964. Beatlemania hits prime time in the United States.
Okay, we had a lot of great responses, and there's 2 responses. First of all, Beatles songs. Chang YS loves Hey Jude. Great classic song. That is a Beatles song. U Cafe loves All You Need Is Love. All You Need Is Love. I'm sure you know it. Let's sing it. All you need is love. Da 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 da. Great song. I'm going to skip this one for now. Oh, Cyber Joa. Cyber Joa had a great expression. I'll give the expression later. His favorite song, Yesterday. Beautiful. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Great song. Let me see. The Ado. The Ado? Ado or Ado? The Ado, Yellow Submarine. A fun song. We all live in the Yellow Submarine. Hey. Mian. Mian also liked the song Yesterday. Beautiful song, Yesterday. Let me see. Then we have... Oh, that's it for the Beatles songs. One more guy. The Progressive Daniel. Now, the Progressive Daniel is a young guy from Mexico, and he knows a lot about the Beatles. One of his favorite songs, From Me to You. Another of his favorite songs, In My Life. And personally, I like In My Life. Fantastic song. It's a very lovely song, but when you listen to it, you smile, but also you can get some tears in your eyes. And it's just a beautiful song. I really like it. So if you don't know the song In My Life, right here is a link with the lyrics, and I recommend you listen to the song. It's simple to understand and very beautiful. Thank you for your responses. Also, I had a question. It doesn't get more something something than something something. A lot of responses. Great jobs. Let me read a couple. The Progressive Daniel, once again, he's from Mexico. He said, it doesn't get much more Mexico than tortillas. Oh, tortillas and tacos and chili. I love Mexican food. Yes, it doesn't get much more Mexico or Mexican than tortillas. Now, Cyber Joa, he liked the Yesterday song. He said, it doesn't get much more Beatles than Yesterday. Wow, great example. Nice job, good job. Shimam from Egypt, who had an eye infection. I hope you're better. Shimam said, it doesn't get much more Egypt than the pyramids. Perfect! Exactly. We say Egypt, many people think of the pyramids. Beautiful. Rafaro is from Brazil, and Rafaro says, it doesn't get much more mineiro than feijão tropeiro. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. My Portuguese is terrible. Mineiro refers to a specific area or people in Brazil. It's down in the central southern area, big area. And feijão or feijão tropeiro is a food, and it looks really delicious. It doesn't get much more mineiro than feijão tropeiro. I apologize for the pronunciation. And Yuktalinu said, oh, beautiful video, sent a video. It doesn't get much more Romania than the Danube. The Danube River. The Danube River. Oh, that's difficult. Danube River. It's a tongue twister. Beautiful video. Check out the video that Yuktalinu linked us to. Very nice. I'm very impressed. It doesn't get much more Romania or Romanian. Both are going to be fine. Absolutely lovely. So thank you very much for all your responses. Using these responses is very important. It helps you remember these great English expressions. So thank you. Now, it's time for DD62, and it is about obesity. Obesity, overweight. So, fat. Now, fat is not a good word. It's a negative word. So we say overweight, and we get overweight. And if we become too overweight, they call it obesity. And obesity is a disease. Overweight, okay, it's possible. But if you are obese, go to your doctor and try to find some way for you to bring your weight down. Obesity is deadly. It's not a joke. And America is really bad. A lot of obese people. Oh, here's a pic. This is a typical, really sad picture. This is a guy eating French fries with a Diet Coke. Why? A lot of Americans do that. They eat this terrible diet, high-calorie diet, with a Diet Coke. And look at the kids. This is really sad. Well, I shouldn't talk. I'm lucky. I'm very skinny. Maybe I'm too skinny. If you're obese, or if you know somebody who is obese, I'm not attacking you. And I understand. I'm lucky. I'm not putting on the weight. I understand that. But I do hope that you, or the people who are obese, I hope that you can find some healthy method for you to lose your weight and to be healthier. It's not a joke. It's a serious crisis. And it's in America now, and it's expanding around the world. So be careful. Be careful. All right, it's long. It's about 41 words, but it's easy to hear, mostly, I think. So good luck with the dictation, and I'll give you the answers next class. And I'll say hello to the new watchers at the end of our lesson.
According to the CDC, 2 out of every 3 Americans are considered either overweight or obese. And the trend towards unhealthy habits is starting even younger, with nearly 20% of children between the ages of 6 and 11 considered obese. According to the CDC, 2 out of every 3 Americans are considered either overweight or obese. And the trend towards unhealthy habits is starting even younger, with nearly 20% of children between the ages of 6 and 11 considered obese. According to the CDC, 2 out of every 3 Americans are considered either overweight or obese. And the trend towards unhealthy habits is starting even younger, with nearly 20% of children between the ages of 6 and 11 considered obese. According to the CDC, 2 out of every 3 Americans are considered either overweight or obese. And the trend towards unhealthy habits is starting even younger, with nearly 20% of children between the ages of 6 and 11 considered obese.
Okay, we have a couple of new watchers, new subscribers. Let me introduce Ivelisa Emma. Ivelisa Emma. Emma, nice to meet you, from the U.S., hometown Georgia. And I'm wondering, Georgia in Russia? Is that your hometown? This country Georgia, or the state Georgia in the United States? I'm curious about that. Thank you for joining my channel. Then we have, oh man, how can I read this? Natalia G 001. I'm sorry, from the US also. Thank you very much for joining my channel. We have the Sabrina 0109. The Sabrina from Canada. Welcome to Daily Dictation. And finally, Hyuksun 1. Hyuksun 1 from South Korea. Pangapsmida. Thank you very much for joining my channel. Please tell your friends, and thank you for watching the lessons. If you want to learn something specific for daily dictation, send me a link to the video, and maybe I can do it in the future. Thank you very much. Have a great day in Korea. It is Friday night. Friday night, yay! But I have to teach tomorrow. But that's okay. I'm going to edit the video and go to bed, and I'll see you next lesson. Bye-bye.